Hey everybody, and welcome back for another edition of Talking Pro Football. I'm Michael Carlyle. We will look back at the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, the latest news and notes, and let's get right to it. What a weekend it was, a crazy weekend. 4 games, they all go down to the wire. It started on Saturday, 2 games that ended with road teams kicking a field goal on the final play of the game to knock off number 1 seeds. Then we got to Sunday. The first game went down to a field goal attempt on the final play. That knocked out the defending Super Bowl champs. Road team won each of the first 3 games. The fourth game, the home team won, but they won it on a walk-off TD pass in overtime. It was crazy. Let's jump into the games on Saturday. We start in Tennessee. The Titans, the top seed in the AFC, they came in as 3-point favorites against the Bengals. Evan McPherson kicked a 52-yard field goal as time expired to give the 4th-seeded Bengals a 19-16 win over the top seed Titans. It ends the NFL's longest active road playoff skid. Just a week after snapping a 31-year playoff victory drought, the Bengals finally win their first road game in the postseason after losing their first 7. Bengals intercepted Ryan Tannehill 3 times to set up 2 of McPherson's 4 field goals. Logan Wilson picked off Tannehill with 20 seconds left. Burrow then hitched Jamar Chase with a 19-yard pass. Bengals run the ball twice to set up McPherson for the win. Burrow shook off being sacked 9 times in this game as Tennessee tied an NFL record held by 4 other teams for the most sacks in a postseason game. He threw for 348 yards. He becomes the first quarterback taken number 1 overall to win a divisional game within his first 2 seasons. Joe Mixon also ran for 54 yards and a score in the win. Titans, meanwhile, they wrap up their 25th season in Tennessee with their 3rd straight loss on their own field as the AFC's number 1 seed. They haven't won at home in the playoffs since January of 2003. The other game on Saturday, this one was in Green Bay. The Packers were 4.5-point favorites against the 49ers, and with the snow falling at Lambeau Field, Robbie Gould made a 45-yard field goal as time expired, and the 49ers knocked off the top-seeded Packers 13-10, and possibly ended Aaron Rodgers' time in Green Bay. Robbie Gould has made all 20 of his career playoff field goal attempts. His latest helps the 49ers complete an improbable comeback by scoring 10 unanswered points in the final 5 minutes. San Francisco's win, coupled with the Bengals' win over the Titans earlier in the day, makes it the first time that both number 1 seeds lose in the divisional round in the same season since 2010. Rodgers went 20 of 29, 225 yards, and he drops to 0-4 in career playoff starts against the 49ers. He's the first quarterback in NFL history to lose 4 playoff starts to a single opponent, and he now enters an uncertain offseason after skipping the Packers' mandatory minicamp in a standoff with management. Rodgers, after the game, said he was uncertain if this would be his last year in Green Bay, says he wants to take some time and reflect, says he is going to keep all his options open. San Francisco tied the game up with 4:41 left thanks to a breakdown by Green Bay special teams, which has been their biggest weakness all season long. As a matter of fact, Packers, the worst special teams in all of football. Jordan Willis' outstretched left hand blocked a punt by Corey Bojorquez, who was kicking in front of his own end zone. The Niners scoop it up at the 6-yard line. They run it in. That ties it up 10-10. Packers go 3 and out. The Niners get the ball back at their own 29 with 3:20 left. They drive into field goal range. Deebo Samuel delivered a 9-yard run on a 3rd and 7 from the Green Bay 38. Niners run the clock down to set up Gould's game-winning kick. On to the Sunday games, and if you thought we were headed for a letdown after the excitement of Saturday, you thought wrong. We start in Tampa Bay. The defending Super Bowl champs, the Buccaneers, they were 3-point favorites against the Rams. Matthew Stafford threw for 366 yards and 2 touchdowns. Matt Gay hit a 30-yard field goal as time expired. The Rams get the win 30-27 over Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. Brady rallied the Bucs from a 27-3 second-half deficit. Sound familiar? Yep. With help from 3 LA turnovers, they tied the game up on Leonard Fournette's 9-yard run on 4th and inches with 42 seconds left. Stafford turns around, leads the Rams downfield after the ensuing kickoff, gets completions of 20 and 44 yards to Cooper Kupp. That sets up Gay's game-winning field goal. Stafford had never won in the postseason before beating Arizona a week ago. He completed 28 of 38 for 366 yards, 2 scores. Brady, meanwhile, 30 of 54, 329 yards with a touchdown and a pick as the Rams advance to the NFC Championship game. The other game on Sunday, and while it wasn't decided by a game-winning field goal at the end, it might have been the most exciting. The Chiefs at Arrowhead, they were 2.5-point favorites against the Bills. Josh Allen was nearly perfect on Sunday. He made one mistake. He made the wrong call on the overtime coin toss. Patrick Mahomes followed up that mistake by Allen by marching Kansas City down the field against the NFL's top-ranked defense. It was a tired defense, though. Mahomes finds Travis Kelce in the corner of the end zone to give the Chiefs a dramatic 42-36 win. How dramatic? The lead changed hands 3 times in the final 2 minutes of regulation. There were 25 points scored in the last 2 minutes. Harrison Butker, who had earlier missed a field goal and an extra point, kicked a 49-yard field goal as time expired to force overtime. And when the Chiefs won the coin toss, Mahomes took care of the rest. He went to work. Finishes with 378 yards passing and 3 touchdowns. Josh Allen, 329 yards passing. Gabriel Davis for the Bills had 8 catches, 201 yards. Bills lose their 9th straight road playoff game. So the conference championships are now set in the AFC. It will be the Kansas City Chiefs playing host to the Cincinnati Bengals. In the NFC, the LA Rams, they will host the San Francisco 49ers. Phew, let's take a look at some news and notes coming out of that crazy divisional round weekend. Coming up here, we've got the championship games, the NFC and AFC. This will be the first time since 2009 that neither Tom Brady nor Aaron Rodgers will be in a conference championship game. The 49ers are headed to their 17th conference championship. That's the most by any team since the merger. Green Bay Packers, they've earned the number 1 seed 3 times since 2008. That's the most in the NFC. They've also failed to reach the Super Bowl in all 3 of those seasons. With his 0-4 record against the 49ers, Aaron Rodgers now has the most playoff losses versus a single opponent in NFL history. Shouldn't be a surprise that Robbie Gould hit that game-winning field goal against the Packers. Like we mentioned, Gould has never missed a kick in the playoffs. He's 20 for 20 on field goals. He's 32 of 32 on extra points. That's clutch. With the Bengals going to the AFC Championship, the longest conference championship appearance drought now belongs to the Cleveland Browns. Sorry to kick a team while they're down in their fan base, but yep, congratulations, Cleveland. You're on the clock. 1989, the last time the Browns were in a conference championship game. With the loss to the Bengals, the Titans now fall to 0-3 in the playoffs when they're the number 1 seed. They may be better off next season, striving to be the 2nd seed. Packers head into the offseason with a lot of questions. We mentioned Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't want to be part of a rebuild. Well, why can't you just keep the band together? Well, Packers are projected to be $44.8 million over the salary cap. That's the NFL's 2nd most challenging offseason position behind the Saints. And that's not including trying to re-sign or franchise tag Devontae Adams. You got a lot of decisions to make in Green Bay. And while it seems like everybody's playing nice as far as Rodgers in the front office, there are certainly no guarantees that Aaron Rodgers will be a Packer next year. The Rams are the first team to win a playoff game after losing 4 or more fumbles since the 1975 Steelers in the AFC Championship game against the Raiders. Steelers went on to win the Super Bowl that year. Sunday was Cooper Kupp's 12th 100-yard receiving game this season. That ties Hall of Famer Michael Irvin, who did it back in 1995 for the most 100-yard receiving games in a season, including the playoffs in NFL history. On Sunday, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes both threw for 300 or more yards. They both passed for more than 3 touchdowns. They both completed 70% or higher of their passes. Neither had an interception. They both ran for 65 or more yards. They both led their team in rushing. No other quarterback in NFL history had accomplished all of those feats in a game, whether it be regular season or postseason, and both of them did it on Sunday. All right, that's going to do it for us. Our next episode will drop on Thursday, and it's going to be a big one. We're going to look ahead at the conference championship games. We'll break them both down. We'll also open up the mailbag, so be sure to get your questions in. Plus, we'll hit you up with the latest news and notes headed into conference championship weekend. If you want to get your questions and comments into the mailbag, as always, hit us up. Find us on Twitter at TalkingProFB. You can get me on Twitter at RealMikeCarlyle. Email us, talkingprofootball@gmail.com. We are out of time. We'll be back again on Thursday for another edition of Talking Pro Football here on the After Hours Podcast Network.
Love combat sports? I have a website for you, cageminds.com. That's CAGEDMINDS.com. Fight news from around the world, in-depth interviews, live event coverage, covering combat sports for over a decade. Established in April 2011. That's cageminds.com.